Detroitlions will rise.
All right. Hey, welcome into Rockhound Detroitlions. It is just before 3:30 in the afternoon. Caught wind of Aidan Hutchinson on the Pat McAfee show. And there's some nuggets that I took out of this that I wanted to share because there's definitely a little bit of breaking news in here, a little bit of what if extension talk in here, talking about MCDC and his extension and kind of what Hutch, I think, slipped up on. And I'm gonna play it all for you. I don't have the video. We're going to do the audio, and I apologize about the audio. I have done absolutely everything possible to clean it up. I don't know what's going on. So I've got to get somebody smarter than me to fix this thing because it's not working. But we're going to do our best and limp through it. But I had to do this. I had to. One, I didn't even know Aidan Hutchinson was going to be on the Pat McAfee show today. But he's live, obviously down in Radio Row, going through some interviews, supporting Gatorade. And there's some things that he said there, too, about his visit with Gatorade. And what I will tell you is I put the link in the description. You're going to have to find it. It's about halfway through today's show on Pat McAfee. Hutch is still walking with a limp. And the reason why I'm talking about that is, we had a lot of fans that were thinking that he would have made it back for the Super Bowl. It's a great conversation, right? I mean, great what if it would have happened. Just being in the Super Bowl as a Lions fan, that would have been enough for me. But I don't think that he was able to come back. And that's how severe, this injury is. And he talks about that. He talks about, how traumatic this injury is for him. I mean, he's still dealing with it. And anyway, let's just dive right in to some of the audio here with Aidan Hutchinson, Pat McAfee show. We'll kind of stop and start and talk about it as we go.
He would have been able to come back and play in the Super Bowl if the Detroit Lions would have made it. Absolute legend. Ladies and gentlemen, Michigan man, Aidan Hutchinson.
Yeah. Hutch. Yes. Yes. Everyone else do it.
Okay, let's talk about your recovery.
Let's talk.
They're saying you would have been able to play in the Super Bowl. That was like the goal. That was the dream. I think Lions fans are holding on to that. Foxy, am I lying?
Amen.
Foxy in the back was literally waking up in the morning. Hutch will be back for the Super Bowl. Now, I don't know if you slowed down rehab after Lions lose.
Right.
Do you think you would have been able to make it for the Super Bowl if the Lions would have made the Super Bowl?
You never know. I think so. Maybe I would. Maybe I would. The world will never know, though.
Okay, so how do you feel?
I feel good. I mean, we'll be wrapping up rehab pretty soon, and then I'm gonna move on with my life.
Okay, so how's it been? Isolate. People hate rehab. Is the worst.
It's the worst.
Isolated alone. You don't get to play. It's a lot of hard times. I mean, it's painful throughout it. Is this the first time you've had to go through something like this?
No. I've had a season-ending injury before, but this one, that tibia break was an absolute monster. It was. That is what, I stayed in the hospital in Dallas for like a couple days after I got hurt there, and those were probably the two most miserable days I ever had in my whole life.
Yeah,
So,
questioning everything, painful.
Oh, yeah, questioning. You have the damn beeping going off in the hospital the whole time. You can't sleep. People are coming in there checking your vitals every two minutes, so I'm happy I'm done with that.
You're also on Defensive Player of the Year, like, tracking, too.
Oh, yeah.
You were playing the best ball by far that you have played in the NFL.
Yeah.
How much does that, like, kind of make you eager for next season, or how do you kind of deal with that, knowing that you were on a rocket ship, and then bang, it just gets all stopped out of nowhere?
Oh, it hurt. That was, despite the pain, being ripped out of that season and knowing what I could have done and what could have been, it's like, that's what I have the hardest time with. But then again, I'm going into year 4 next year, so I'm young and I got a lot of good football.
Yeah, and I assume MCDC will use this entire ending of the year as motivation going forward. AJ has a question for you.
All right, let me pause here. There's one person in the chat that said that they couldn't hear anything. I assume that you guys can hear the audio of Aidan Hutchinson and talking with Pat McAfee. Just let me know real quick so we can continue. Should be good. I hate it when I do live streams and I just don't know. Okay, so Mike P can hear it. Everybody else can hear it. I don't know why Pinocchio or Steve Pinnikin said that he couldn't hear it. Anyway, so first takeaway. Talks about not knowing if he could have made it to the Super Bowl. And he gave the PC answer. Well, nobody's going to know now. Nobody will ever know if I could have made it or not. Nobody will ever know if I was just pumping up my team, giving them the old rah-rah. Come on, guys, just get there. You can do it. Just get there, and I'll be there. Look, Hutch is the ultimate motivator. He is. And I think that when you look at these scenarios, of course, MCDC said it so many times, it's a season-ending injury. For some, it's a career-ending injury. And the likelihood of him even having a chance to come back. Slim to none. More none than slim, if that makes sense. But that wouldn't mean that Aidan's not going to go talk to his team and say, just get there. I'll be there, guys. Just get there. Of course he's going to do that because he's still a part of this team and he still wants a Super Bowl for this city, whether he's playing in it or not. Now, the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because when he walked onto the stage, you could tell that he was still limping. And that gave me the idea that he wasn't going to make it for the Super Bowl. But even if he throttled back a little bit on rehab, which I wouldn't have expected him to do anyway, wouldn't make any sense that if you're going and going and going, you don't just kind of stop your rehab. You still go. You still finish. And to his point, they're going to be wrapping it up soon anyway. So he's still not done with rehab at this point. Now, it was just, 3 weeks ago that the Lions lost in the first playoff game. So would 3 weeks have made the difference if he's still not done with rehab today? I think you have your answer. I don't think I need to sell you any more on that fact at least. So I accidentally stopped, so I'm going to have to find the
He would have been able to come back and play. He would have been.
All right, let me move forward just a little bit.
For like a couple days after I got hurt there, and those were probably the 2 most miserable days I ever had in my whole life. So,
Yeah, questioning everything, painful.
Oh yeah, questioning. You have the damn beeping going off in the hospital the whole time. Can't sleep. People are coming in there checking your vitals every two minutes. So I'm happy I'm done with that.
You're also on Defensive Player of the Year, like tracking. So you were playing the best ball by far that you have played in the NFL.
Yeah.
How much does that like kind of make you eager for next season, or how do you kind of deal with that, knowing that you were on a rocket ship and then bang, it just gets all stopped out of nowhere?
Oh, it hurt. That was, despite the pain, being ripped out of that season and knowing what I could have done and what could have been. It's like that's what I have the hardest time with. But then again, I'm going into year 4 next year, so I'm young and I got a lot of good football.
Yeah, and I assume MCDC will use this entire ending of the year as motivation going forward. AJ has a question for you.
Okay, so coming up next,
How about MCD?
What they're going to be talking about is MCDC and the it's the whole viral picture, right, of him with a cigarette in his mouth with his wife, and I mean, gosh, like probably 30 years ago. So they're talking about that, and then Hutchinson said something in this conversation about extension, and it's the way that he said it. And when I was watching it, and I'm like, he just slipped up. Listen for yourself. I think you'll know what I'm talking about.
See,
What about?
just legend. You see that photo of him smoking a cig with his wife way back in the day?
Awesome.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
All he posted.
Sweet
He didn't
long
say-
hair.
Really?
Yeah, long hair.
She
cig.
just posted it, or you dug in the
Within
archives?
last week.
Yeah, happy birthday, I
Last
think?
week. Within the last week.
No,
or
I-
happy anniversary, maybe?
Yeah, there
Wow.
Something like that.
He's a stud. He's
Yeah.
a stud. I mean, he's what you see is what you get with him. So he's so great, and I'm probably going to be there with him now for he got extended for God knows when. So we'll probably be together.
I'm probably going to be there. Oh, I screwed up. I shouldn't have said that. Oh, he got extended for God knows how it went. Dude, that was last year. Dan Campbell wasn't just extended again. It was last year, right? This past season, he was extended. Him and Brad Holmes through, I think, 2028. Hutchinson, in my opinion, just kind of screwed up. I think that there probably now is some extension talks. Who knows when or if it's going to happen. But I think that Aidan just kind of gave us the answer that maybe there's some conversation here. And the extension is probably coming. However, I still don't believe, I don't believe that they're going to get it done before they see Aidan on the field. And if they did, I hate me or not for saying this, I think that would be a terrible business move. Terrible business move. It's not about the player, right? It's not about anything other than I need to see this player on the field doing what he was doing before he got injured, to know that when I hand him this huge check for $130 million or whatever it's going to be, that he's going to be able to fulfill his end of the bargain. Now you can, jam pack this contract with all sorts of language to protect the franchise. But typically the guarantee is the guarantee, and that's what he's going to get out of it no matter what. So I think that Aidan screwed up a little bit here. I tried to backtrack a little bit, thinking a little quick on his feet. Maybe not. That's just what I took from it. So are they talking extension right now with Aidan Hutchinson? Well, I'm sure we're going to find out one way or the other here in the next couple of months. We'll move on to the next one here after they finish this brief segment.
For a while.
His messaging always the same as we see. He feels like a very deep thinking meathead. Right?
Yes.
Like, I think that's a good way to
No,
describe
what's
it.
so great about Dan is for good or for bad, he'll tell you he'll get something off his chest, and you know whether it's anything. It could be something that I did wrong maybe, or he doesn't like. He'll be like, Hutch, like that kind of pisses me off, but I gotta get this off my chest, and he'll say it. Done, and we'll move on. So he's very unique in that way, where I feel like you're always getting the real Dan Campbell.
Yeah, instead of letting it linger. Well, obviously this guy's your leader.
Okay, so up next, Pat asks him about growing and learning through his football career, and Aidan gives the answer. And it's something that I speak to, I guess, more often than not, more often than most people do. And you've heard me say it, right? It's not about the physical gifts anymore. You know, when you get to the NFL, everybody has a physical gift. It's the mental side of the game that you really have to wrap yourself around to take your game to the next level. And Aidan acknowledges that. And so, again, I'm glad that I'm getting the vindication from Aidan himself, because it's the mental side of the game that I think would slow anybody down. And you hear, you know, rookies, right? They come into their second season. What do they say? The game has slowed down for me a little bit now. And that wasn't so much that they couldn't, you know, run hip to hip with, you know, a corner and a wide receiver in their rookie season. No, it's the vision, right? Everything that you've now gone through, the playbook, running the plays, being in situations, the mental side. It's developing all of the mental acuity in the game. So I'm glad to hear that Aidan also speaks to that and how important it is. So we'll play that one next.
Tony has a question for you.
Yeah, just talking about MCDC, and then I was watching your highlights earlier today. What do you think the biggest difference that you got off to the hot start this year? Like, because I noticed your hands are just like unbelievable. The tackles could never get their hands on you to begin this season. Is that something that you think, you know, led to getting off to such a hot start this year?
I think it was just every year you develop so much, and every game I feel like I'm learning something new, and I'm applying that to my game, and I feel like it's just a culmination of doing that year after year. And then I come out this year, and everything just felt so right. And I feel like this year I embraced the pressure more than I did. It's more like, you know, you come in as a first rounder, you don't really know what to expect, and I get to year 3, and I'm like, look, 3rd and 10, game on the line, like put me in the position to get the one-on-one, I'm gonna win. You know, that's kind of the mentality that I did, and
Great. I mean, just a great statement by Aidan that it was the mental side of the game for him that, you know, is really starting to come together. I did it again. I got to fast forward here.
You're always getting the real Dan, and like put me in the position to get the one-on-one, I'm gonna win. You know, that's kind of the mentality that I did, and
Okay, so up next, and hi everybody in the chat. I see you guys in there. I'll comment at the end about the question that I see in the chat. So next, it was Tony that had a question. He was talking about Aidan's hot start and if that can continue. And Aidan also admitted one of the things that I also talk about quite often. And I know, look, again, some of you guys think I'm nuts when I talk about these things, and I'll point out things about his game, you know, where he has some deficiencies. That's just me having a good eye and recognizing what he's doing right, what he's doing wrong. Now, I don't know everything, but I know what I see. And Aidan validated it in this conversation. So he admitted one of his toughest challenges, and Aidan says that he has a problem that will get him every single time. I don't know that I would have said that out loud, but he did. And again, it's something that I speak to. And look, I know a little bit of ball. So let's let Aidan tell us what I'm trying to tell you.
Are you growing? Are you learning? Are you staying? Like, what do you think your size will end up being for the long haul here in the NFL?
You know, I feel like it's not so much physical. I feel like I'm going to stay pretty much. I'm going to get stronger.
What do you weigh?
I don't even know. I haven't stepped on a scale in months. I don't even get weighed at the Lions because I think they just trust me.
What is? So you don't even know? Like, are you
I'm
270?
probably 260, like low 260s, I would say. But I don't know. I feel like more me. I feel like my mind. Like I just learn so much new stuff every year that it's the mind that develops, and that's what makes you a better player.
Any knee stuff?
And then this next one is what I was just talking
Has a
about.
question for you, Hunt.
Yeah, you came in, obviously, high draft pick, high expectations out the gate. But was there a welcome to the league moment for you early in your career that you can remember that stands out, or you just kind of felt like, nah, you know, I can still dominate?
Just remember what I always say, that Aidan is often crashing down the line or getting too deep and putting himself into a situation where Jalen Hurts is squirting out the side, or Jordan Love, or any other mobile quarterback, you know, or a good running back, instead of bottling up the run, that sometimes Aidan gets himself in trouble. And what I always mention is the chipping. Like when Aidan gets picked up on a chip block, it's not so much a double team, because Aidan really doesn't get doubled all the time. He gets chipped more than anything. And that's what Aidan's going to speak to right now.
Yes.
Welcome to the league moment. With me, a lot of I don't have a specific one, but to me, the certain play that will get me every time is when they have a chipper outside of the whole box, and then I've been on my ass countless times from that block, and I think that's no welcome to the league. But every time it happens to me, I'm either crashing into everybody else on the D line. So yeah,
That's it. All right.
And that's a big one, right? I mean, that means that you're giving up bigger plays. And again, going back to the statement he made before, the mental side of the game is where he's growing the most right now. And I hope that Aidan's going to get back and just play as vicious as he has been in year 4 and be able to take this mental side of the game to the next level. I mean, he's got a ton of time right now to be watching tape when he's not rehabbing. This last 10 seconds of this clip, this one hit me because Aidan said something that, again, I just mentioned the other day, that this is going to be a team that is vastly different in 2025. And I have some real hot takes coming, some real crazy trade ideas and things that could possibly happen for the Lions this season. And Aidan kind of just summed it up when he said this.
that's right.
Top down.
That's right.
Your team's got a lot of young studs, man.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna have to pay everybody at some point.
This is it's going to get a little weird, I think, this offseason. A little crazy. We'll see who they're going to keep and who they won't.
Keep collecting, get her. He would have been able to come back and play in the Super Bowl if the Detroit.
So there you have it. It's going to get a little bit crazy this season. And Aidan is, just say he's a little bit concerned as to who they're going to keep and who they're not. And like I've been saying, it's going to be a vastly different team. It's going to be. Every year it is. It's a little bit different from the year before. But I think this year is going to be a little bit more difficult for Brad and Dan to really pin down some of these guys that are looking for bigger contracts, extensions, early extensions. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a different team. So to kind of sum all of this up, and then I'm going to jump into the chat. In a nutshell, look, Pat McAfee started out the conversation saying that he could have came back for the Super Bowl. Aidan, kind of walked into that saying, I don't know if I would have made it back. Nobody will ever know now. He was kind of limping a little bit when he was walking onto the stage. He did say that they were going to be wrapping up rehab here soon, and then he's going to move on with his life. He's going to get back to playing football. Talked about, MCDC and the whole extension thing. That was a little awkward. To me, that sounded like Aidan was kind of giving up that he's talking about an extension and then turn it around on Dan, try to think quickly. I don't know, tinfoil hat, I guess, moment. And then Pat obviously asked him about growing and learning. He talks about the mental side of his game and having to continue to improve the mental side of his game. The physical gifts are there. And then obviously, the last couple of things about, starting hot. Can you continue that type of play? And then he admitted, one of his toughest challenges is obviously with the chip block. And it's on tape. It always has been. And adding a guy like Myles Garrett, hey, maybe it helps because they won't be able to chip everybody. But we'll talk about that more tonight, too. I'm hoping to get all this audio stuff fixed by tonight, but I doubt it. Team's going to change. It's going to be drastically different. Now to bounce into the chat, appreciate you guys joining me here this afternoon. Just a quick update on what we had witnessed on the Pat McAfee show today. Radio Row, Super Bowl week. Fun stuff, man. Just a fun week. Wish I was there. Wish I was there wearing Honolulu blue, ready for the Lions to take the field, but that just didn't happen. As far as Moonscar's comment in here, I have no idea. I didn't know that there was an issue or something going on. No idea. And I think you made a good point in there to respect his family's privacy. So whatever's going on with, if there is something going on with JB, wish him nothing but the best. He can always pick up the phone anytime and give us a ring if he needs anything. So Bob W says Brad likes the deal. Maybe he gets Hutch to sign for less this season than next. Yeah, I would say that would be a good opportunity for Brad, but at the same token, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that the agent that Aidan has will prevent that from happening. They're going to get a max deal. It may not be the largest contract ever for a defensive end, but it'll probably be a top 5. And if he doesn't play this year, if he bets on himself, if he doesn't extend this year and he bets on himself and he comes back and he has another crazy good season, then he's going to get the max deal to break all deals. So that's really up to Hutch. How much does he believe in himself? Would he take less money just to sign now with another opportunity to extend later? Possibly. Maybe it's a 2 or a 3 year extension or maybe just a 2-year extension. Get him on his 5th. He's already going into his 4th. So you're extending him, a couple of years after that. Maybe. I don't know. And I'm going to talk more about some of that stuff later with Myles Garrett and another gentleman that I would love to have on this team. And again, it's not all about sacks. It's just about defense and putting bodies where they need to be. And it does make sense to have the best possible defensive line you can have. You win these games in the trenches. And we started that this last season with Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, and Aidan Hutchinson, and Josh Paschal coming back. That's probably one of the best defensive lines we have had in Detroit, at least since 2014, and one of the better ones probably in the last few decades. It just didn't work out in our favor. Too many injuries. So we'll see what happens. A couple of quick comments, questions, statements from anybody in the chat. Anything popping for you guys today? Let's see. I don't really see a whole lot going on. I'm going to try to get on tonight and do Off the Cuff or Rockhound Detroit Lions podcast tonight. Hopefully I can get this fixed up. I've got a few videos that I'm waiting to get out, but it's got a bunch of audio problems, and I hate to post it that way. I did it yesterday with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett was interesting yesterday. The whole talking about Detroit Lions and, not giving an answer was more so, it's not, I don't think it has anything to do with the league year, right? The tampering and all that stuff. He can say whatever he wants to say whenever he wants to say it. What was going on yesterday is his publicists and all of the people that he was working with, they were forcing him to get away from the reporters, to get away from all the journalists. And it was lucky enough that they were able to get a couple of quick statements from him. So, him saying that he has not thought about playing for the Detroit Lions, not yet. And then the other one, not really, were the two answers that he gave, the two-word answers. So kind of cryptic, right? Not giving us a whole lot, giving us just enough maybe to kind of, cling on to. But this Myles Garrett thing is going to take a hot minute. And maybe when I break it down later on, maybe some people will see it my way too. I know that we're divided like 50-50 right now. You got one crowd that would love to have him just because he's Myles Garrett. He's a hell of a football player. And to just have that combination of Aidan and Myles and DJ and Aleem all on the field at the same time at some point is pretty damn scary. And then you have the other side of the fence where giving up your future, giving up your sustainability, pushing all the chips to the middle, from my perspective, that is a Matt Millen play. It just depends what's going to happen with the rest of the roster between now and next year. Because a play like this, you're going to lose some players. So I'll leave you with this cliffhanger. If I were to tell you that the Lions were to bring in Myles Garrett, but you were going to have to lose either Sam Laporta or Jamison Williams or Jahmyr Gibbs or Brian Branch or Kirby Joseph, at least one of them, then what are you thinking? Because I think that's what it's going to take. Because what I mean is it may not be a trade for that player. That player won't be able to be re-signed. They won't be able to extend their contract in Detroit because Detroit just won't have enough money. They won't. At some point, you run out. And that can happen that quickly. So you're trading a big contract for one of the players that we're looking to renegotiate and extend. So anyway, we will, my Washington was my number one team. As you guys heard me say the other day, that was my number one team. I think it's a perfect fit for Myles. It's a young, growing situation over there. But then again, Zadarius Smith's already in Detroit. He's got a close relationship with Myles. So I'm sure there is a bit of a, I don't know why that's playing. I'm sure there's a bit of a communication going on between those guys. Absolutely. So we've got the big Super Bowl mini helmet giveaway. We just hit 8,500. So we are going to be giving one away tonight. And as far as the rest of the weekend, look, just like, share, comment as much as you can. Comment as much as you can in the videos, whether they're now or previous ones. But when we post them, and then share it with a friend. The more you can share this with a friend, the better. The quicker we can get to 10,000. And we're going to be giving away a mini helmet every 100 subscribers between now and Sunday night. So we've only got, 3 days left to do it. Let's get it done. You guys are the best Lions community out there. Certainly appreciate you. Wouldn't be here without any of you. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Go on Pride, go Detroit Lions. We'll see you guys later tonight. Bye-bye.
Detroit Lions will